Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Shade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Charles Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glenn. Oh, I gotta say it.
That was melodic.
Hello, everyone. It's Chelsea Pinky here from Black Girls Texting. This episode, or this week's episode, is a little different. We're not going to have the intro. We're not going to have the what would you do, just because it got kind of emotional. And also, I just want to protect this episode. We had Theresa Caputo on, who is the Long Island medium. And some surprises happened on this episode.
It's super powerful.
Yeah, this one was crazy and just really beautiful, so vulnerable. And yeah, I think we all kind of came to agreement that we just wanted y'all to enjoy it and jump right in.
We are welcoming Theresa Caputo to the group chat today. You might also know her from the wildly popular show Long Island Medium and her podcast, Hey Spirit. She's been a practicing medium for like over a decade now, and tours the country with her live show, Theresa Caputo Live, The Experience. She's also written 4 incredible New York Times best-selling books. And I just have to say, personally, this is one of the episodes, and you are one of the guests that I have been most excited about. Like, I cannot believe that you're with us. I'm very excited for you to join the group chat.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm still, even after decades of being on a decade of being on TV and doing what I do, I'm still shocked that people know who I am.
What?
Yeah,
You're an icon.
Well, thank you. I don't look at myself as that, but I appreciate that very much. And it's an honor to be here with you ladies today.
Thank you. So let's just jump right into it, because I have like a gazillion questions, and I know we probably won't even get into all of them, but I'm like, let's go. First of all, can you tell us about your podcast, Hey Spirit?
Sure. So through the pandemic, I learned that Zoom was the new phone reading for me. So I was able to start a podcast and be able to share my gift with not only people in the tri-state area and even within the country, but all over the world. So that's how I started Hey Spirit.
I love it. So
I mean, even like me being here with you guys today, I mean, I'm on tour in Idaho. So, and I'm able to be here with you ladies.
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Yeah. So, well, what
Right?
can people expect to hear from here on the podcast for listeners who haven't heard it?
So the thing that I love about the podcast is that you're listening to all of these healing messages. You're not seeing anything. There's no video. So to be able to, because like on Long Island Medium, or even if you come to one of my live shows, you're literally watching the healing take place. You can watch someone transform right in front of your very own eyes. But to hear it, and I think that it's such a different experience because you're hearing it, you're listening to it, and you just feel it like deep within your soul.
I love that. I know how you became a medium, and that you've known since you were a young child and the whole story. But for our listeners, can you just give us like a breakdown of like how you became a medium, how you even realized that you had this gift?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I never thought that I would be a medium. I didn't wake up one day and say to my parents, oh, I think I'm going to talk to dead people for a living. That sounds like a great career. Like I thought I was just going to be a Dallas Cowgirl cheerleader. So that was like, yeah. So since I'm 4, I've been sensing and feeling things. I would see people standing at the foot of my bed at night, hear people speak to me in a room, and there was no one else in the room but myself. And it wasn't until later in my 20s that I discovered that not only was I sensing my own departed loved ones, but everyone else's. I struggled with my gift for well over 5 years because I couldn't understand, first of all, why God would bless me with this gift. I am a practicing Catholic, and I always say, even though they don't agree with what I do, they take my money every week, but that's a different show. So I struggled with so many things. I was like, why would someone even want to come and see a medium and connect with their loved ones that have died? And what I learned is that, unfortunately, no matter who we lose or how they die, young or old, we here in the physical world are left with burdens and guilt. We're left with these, maybe a should have, a could have, a would have, and only if. And at the end of the day, all of these negative emotions do not give us the ability to heal. So I put my gift in God's hands. And I said, if this is my soul's journey, is to help people to heal after the loss of a loved one and to live their life with happiness and joy, or at least some type of fulfillment after they lose a loved one, then you open a door and I will walk through it. And here I am. And at the time, I couldn't even leave my house. I was so crippled with anxiety because I'm empathic. So I feel the souls. They make me feel how they died. And so crippling for me. So, and now here I am, over 10 years later. I live on a tour bus, for 9 weeks now at this time. I'll be living on my tour bus and, doing live shows. So
that's like the idea of like feeling all these like souls and spirits. Is it like you're feeling them all at once, or is it like you have to focus on one person at a time?
So it's interesting. So I can feel multiple souls at one time. So, like even growing up, I also want to share with you, like and I feel like this is important. And I always share this part of my life because I think a lot of people can relate just in different ways. I never felt complete. I always felt that there was something missing deep within my soul. I thought that I was different. I used to say to my mom, I don't belong here. I'm different than everyone else. And my mom would say, well, you belong to this family. We love you, and no one ever made a really big deal about the things that I would say. And that's the incredible thing. Like when I sense souls, especially when there's like, even if there's just more than one person in front of me, if a soul wants to communicate, they kind of band together. And they make me feel things at one time. Like I can already tell you right now, there's a father energy present. So I don't know. And then labors my breathing. So even if someone didn't lose their dad, it could be a grandfather, uncle, someone like a dad, but they labor my breathing, which means that they pass from something of the chest. And then he restricted my throat area, which is my symbol for that someone did not get the opportunity to say goodbye, or they feel that they wish they were able to say things to him that he did not hear.
I'm literally about to cry.
God.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if we talk about like pseudoscience of zodiac signs, but I'm a Capricorn, so I'm very, don't believe in a lot of things, but my father passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did he pass from something of the chest? Or something,
cancer.
But did he labor? It was his breath, or there was like a filling up with a fluid in the end?
Yeah, because he did not take care of his cancer. Yeah.
And do you feel that there were things that you did not get to say to him? Because he keeps showing me the whispering of the ear, which means that nothing was left unsaid.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much that we did not get to wrap up.
But he made me feel like you talk to him every day.
I do.
So know that he hears you. Nothing was left unsaid, because he kept saying, tell her, you didn't tell her that nothing was left unsaid. And he goes, and I go, well, I want you to validate it first. He goes, well, she talks to me every day. She tells me everything that's going on. I'm going to say this, though. He wants to take responsibility for his departure. So when a soul takes responsibility, it doesn't mean that someone actually intentionally takes their own life. They take responsibility for their actions, or sometimes non-actions that cause or attribute to their departure. So like, for example, like if someone was diabetic and they ate chocolate every day, they would take responsibility for their passing, not wanting us to feel, because he kept saying to me, he goes, I didn't think that I was really going to die, because he stood in front of me and he goes, can you believe I died, Theresa? I go, no, I can't. When spirit does that, that's my symbol for that. That's either how we feel and or spirit's way of saying, like, if they never acknowledged it or accepted it in a certain way, that it was never going to happen.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
I'm freaking out.
I'm having so many like, I was like, okay, do I ask? Is this just going to come up? Like,
well, wait, so let me just say this too. Your dad just showed me, you have a picture of him. You were young. I don't know if you were like 3 or 4, but you were very young, and he's holding you. And he's like, that is my favorite picture. So whether if you have a picture like that, he's showing me like he's in a white t-shirt. It's just my symbol for that you have this one special picture, validating that when you look at this picture, his soul is with you at that exact moment. Your dad just said, oh, he's chatty Cathy. He's like, he goes, I even came to my daughter in a dream and I told her that I was okay. I showed myself to her. So I don't dream of my loved ones that have died. So did you have a dream or an experience where you saw your father standing in front of you completely healthy?
I dream about him often, which is why I was wondering, like, do people have this gift and not know it, or is it just specific to their loved ones?
So I believe that your dad was your dad funny? Because I like spirits to communicate with their personality. He goes, Theresa, she just completely blew you off by
I'm sorry.
acknowledging my dream.
I'm
my
sorry. I
God.
just have so many questions, and like I'm
It's
trying to
so
keep myself from
amazing.
getting emotional.
I just love, but that would be his personality, right? Because this is the other thing that I like spirit to do is to communicate with their personality. Because let's face it, I am the first. What I do is absolutely crazy, and I am the first one to say, "How in the world can someone communicate with someone that has died?" I am the first one to say it. I believe and know that we all have that ability to connect with our own departed loved ones. Okay. I have the ability to sense and feel everyone else's loved ones. So you need to know that anything, I don't care what it is, how crazy it is, anything that is odd, weird, or you even might think is a coincidence, know, and it reminds you of your dad, know that that is him. Know that that is his soul letting you know that he is with you at that exact moment. And that even though he physically is not here, his soul hasn't left you. He just showed me that you wrote something in honor and in tribute of him, because he wrote "my hero" on the top of a piece of paper, thanking you for what you wrote about him.
So I wrote something. I spoke at his funeral, and I was being sneaky and just like wrote his name and like a few things about him on this paper, like hoping that he would. I'm having so many feelings. I'm like being a tough girl right now, but like, thank you. That means the world.
God.
This is what I say. This is why I say why I'm good at what I do, is because I'm not trying to be rude. I don't care if people believe in what I do. I want people to believe in an afterlife. I want people to believe in themselves. I want people to know that they still have that connection with their departed loved ones. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. That's all that matters, is that you understand it, you get the messages, and you know that there's more to life than this.
Is he saying anything else?
I didn't get anything.
Okay. Okay. So it just
I
happens,
might
like,
get things. I might just start blurting things out.
He's gonna pop up
Okay,
again, like,
please.
hey.
please blurt them out.
Who
Please blurt them out.
has the baby? Does someone have a baby in the family, or someone had a baby since he died?
Yeah, my sister had 2 children.
Okay, so validating that he held the souls before coming here into the physical world.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh my
This is so
gosh.
cool.
I'm so curious, like, because you said, and you made it very clear, and I've heard about this about you in the past, that like you're Catholic, and there are some like thoughts around that. Like, I feel like people take any type of connection with like the afterlife and they try to demonize it in some senses. And it's like so unfortunate, because to your point, like, you do want to be able to feel like you have these connections with your loved ones when they pass. And it's not necessarily like spooky, ghosty, like Scooby-Doo. It's like a spiritual, soulful level.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, this is who I am. I don't know any different. I've always sensed and felt things that mean absolutely nothing to me, but is life-changing to the person that spirit has me speaking to.
Is there a way to tap into this feeling? Like maybe you're feeling like they're not around and you want a sign. Is there a way to like conjure one up?
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing is not like, you can't sit back and say to your loved ones, okay, I know it's going to be you if you show me 10 red cardinals, 5 rainbows, and 10 ladybugs by Saturday. Like, it doesn't work like that. The reason why signs and symbols are so amazing and they freak us out at moments, because they come to us when we're least expecting it. So, for example, at times, like if you're in the shower or you're blow drying your hair or doing like a mindless task, and all of a sudden you think you hear someone call your name, or you you just sense something, know that that's them. Spirit comes to us when our minds are at rest. That's why young children and animals are very connected to the souls of the departed, because they just say things like, we as adults, because our minds are so busy, if we think we see the shadow, your dad just told me that you have the hallway with like 3 bedrooms and a bathroom.
At my mom's house.
Okay. And does anyone see like the shadow, or they think they see something go by? Know that that's his soul.
Okay, we saw like a shadow in like her. Oh my God, yes.
What?
That's him.
Now,
I'm so shook.
there's no way I would know that. I didn't make it up, right?
Oh
And
my God.
It's
My
my
heart
mom's
is
bedroom,
racing.
my bedroom,
Mine
the
too.
living room, the bathroom, and that hall. You guys know, you've been to
Yeah,
my
yeah,
house.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The bathroom's on the end.
Well, yes, I feel like he can hear me too.
Yes.
Um,
Don't be
Like-
saying things and then say, oh, have Theresa say this now.
no, I won't. It's just like I went to, a lot of my friends are getting married, and so I went to a wedding recently, had like a full-on breakdown watching the father-daughter dance,
Mhm.
and yeah, just like want him to know that like I'm always thinking about him.
Listen, no matter what you do in your life, your father's soul will be by your side. He says, I don't want her to stop living because I died, or saying, how am I going to get married because I won't have that father-daughter dance? Or how am I going to have a child? Is this why your dad brought up about holding the souls of your sister's children, validating that before they came here into the physical world, he knows of them? Did she name a child after him, form of a name or a middle name, or thought about it?
No, I've thought about it.
Perfect. Now
Because we want K names. His name is Keith.
Oh my God.
So this doesn't mean that then you have to go and name your child with a K name. If you never do it, to the thought of spirit wanting to do something in honor and in memory of them means the absolute world to them. Your dad also just told me do you have like a little, well, he showed me 2 things. Do you have a little teddy bear with like when spirit shows me a teddy bear with a heart on it that says, I love you, that's just my symbol for that you have something from your childhood that your dad gave you. And it's like something maybe so small as like a teddy bear. I don't care. Maybe it's a bracelet or a charm.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of little things, but they're all
okay.
at my mom's.
That
I don't
that's
have any
fine.
of them.
But they were kept, right? They have no monetary value,
Mhm,
but we kept them.
mhm.
Did your dad wear like a pinky ring? Or
Probably.
Oh,
Right?
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
The spirit just shows me things random. I constantly ask for everything they have me say to validate it with something that you wouldn't expect them to bring up,
Mhm.
completely left field. And I just see things. And as I see them, I say it.
Wow.
Your dad, I just felt something. So it would be on your left side. So to your left, did you feel like a warmth or like a chill?
Warmth.
Know that that's your dad's soul. I asked him to allow you to feel his presence. And there would be no reason why you would just feel it right there. Know that that's his soul with you at this exact moment.
Okay. Well,
I have a question to this point. When you're communicating with these souls, is it like how is the communication happening? Is it like a heart message? Is it just like some sort of understanding that isn't happening like in words, but it's just like a message that you receive? Like when you're sending a message, how are you sending it?
It's just a knowing. For me, it's just a knowing. The spirit will show me things through signs and symbols of things that I've experienced here in the physical world to be able to relay messages to someone else. So like my signs and symbols could have a lot of different meanings because my life experience has most certainly been different than everyone else's. So, and it's just like a knowing and it's a feeling.
Wow.
Do you think, because in my family, I'm also Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the times my mom will say things like, let the dead rest. Like I
Yeah.
told her,
Oh yeah.
I told her about today's episode, and she was like, I don't know why you are doing that and all this stuff.
Like let him rest.
Let him rest. Do they want to rest or do they want to be contacted?
And can I
See,
add to that? There would
but wait.
always be this idea that souls or spirits that are not like that haven't handled the things that they need to handle on the physical plane continue to occupy it, and that those who have like sowed everything that they need to do can go off. So I don't know.
So let's look at it first. Let's address this. Did anyone ever think about, I didn't bother anyone. He bothered me. I had no idea. I had no idea. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not there. And I use that term because, like we say, let the dead rest. I get it. But they're the ones at rest. We're not. Sometimes we just want to know. And if they're with us, if they're okay, I don't have any burdens or guilts connected to my loved one's departure. I don't carry that. I'm 54. I still live right next door to my parents. I only recently lost both of my grandparents within 10 years. So I haven't suffered a loss like that. And I really do believe that that was also my soul's journey. So I would be able to deliver these messages.
Wow.
Because I always say this, I make what I do look very easy. It's the hardest thing to feel someone's pain, sorrow, loss, and grief, and then talk about encouraging and embracing life with happiness and joy. And you're exactly right. You said it, that sometimes spirit sees through our eyes what we need to hear. They see how we struggle. They don't want us to hold back or what we were left with. They'll come through and they'll apologize. If the soul has learned that lesson, some souls will just come through and just say, yep, you know what? I'm good. I lived a good life. They connect with me. They just wanted to know if I was with my cousin Johnny. Literally, that will happen sometimes. And other times, messages are much tougher and harder, especially when someone loses a child. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children. And even I just saw my symbol for miscarriage. So I don't know if someone had a miscarriage or a termination, validating that no matter how the soul left the physical world, the soul bond is safe and at peace with God and will continue to grow on the other side. And then I just saw sunflowers. So I don't know how or if anyone can connect with that. And you know what? We don't have to acknowledge it either. All I care about is that we know that the souls are at peace. And that's it.
Seeing reactions.
Oh, whoa.
Wow. Yeah. Whoa.
My whole body is like it feels like there's a freaking rush of like, I don't even know. It's like going like, it's coming all over the place. So like, this is so intense. Like the energy that you have is like no joke. Like,
yeah, my heart is racing.
Is that normal?
What?
Do people usually like when they're connecting with you, there's just like a big rush of kind of like energy, feeling, emotion?
Yeah.
Well, emotion, I imagine.
Yeah, but they say that like your energy is just so, it makes them feel better just, feeling my energy, but.
Yeah. I have another question, thinking about like coming in contact with these spirits and not having fear around it. I often feel like there's like, not really in my current apartment, but my last apartment, I always felt like there was a presence there. And Sade had this whole situation where she kept seeing a man in her apartment. It was like so crazy that she had to move. I don't know. And these are like unknown people.
So there are several things with that. I do believe that souls can stay stagnant or dwell within a prior house dwelling. I am afraid of the dark. I still sleep with a nightlight. So I don't like scary things. So that was one of the things. I used to see spirit in full form.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I'd be like brushing my teeth, getting ready for work in the morning. I'd look up and all of a sudden there would be a man standing behind me. And then I would look up again and he'd be gone. And I would describe them to my client that would come to the house. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was my dad, or that was my brother.
Oh my God.
So I said to Spirit, I go, you can't show yourself like that to me anymore, because it was way too overwhelming. It was different, just seeing them here and there. But that's then when it changed to just a feeling and a knowing. That's how I got to that point. But it is, how do I explain it? It is scary. The unknown is frightening. And
Mhm.
that brings me back to your original question of what you were asking me before. I think we in general are afraid of the unknown, right? We're afraid of what's going to happen. And people might even say, well, I don't think there's anything after we die. I say to people, okay, fine. Well, if there's nothing, then you're not going to know that there was nothing. So why not believe in something that makes you feel better? Like,
Right.
why do we try to just destroy happiness or feel good stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just fear the unknown. And it was very scary for me to go through what I went through, but I was able to do it in a safe space with people that I trusted, because it wasn't easy. Sensing and feeling all of these things and expressing these emotions. It was very, very scary, but in the same breath, it was peaceful for me.
Mm.
I can't explain it. Uh, I don't know what to compare it to. It was like I felt afraid for a majority of my life. I
Right.
lived my whole life in fear.
Yeah.
And then to be able to then talk about these things and then I feel better. It was like, what's wrong with me? All I
Mm.
knew is that when I sense and feel things, if I just say it, I feel better.
Mhm.
Mm.
Do you ever get messages that you like, I guess, won't say, if that makes
Mm.
sense? Like, do they ever
Um,
say things and you're like, nope, not saying that?
I will, but I have to say it. It's not up to me what spirit wants me to
Mm.
say, what they don't want me to say. I try to find a way, if it's difficult, like if somebody was murdered, if someone took their own life, you know, there were a lot of uncomfortable things, but I also learned, and I apply this in my everyday life. When I'm going to talk about something or be placed in a situation that's uncomfortable, then I know I'm going to learn and grow from that. And I feel that's the same way with spirit's messages. If it's uncomfortable and spirit makes me feel uncomfortable, then I know that this message is going to be 1,000,000 times more healing to that person than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
In like a, I don't know, belief sense, do you feel like this was kind of like your life's purpose?
1,000%.
Yeah.
100%. This is my soul's journey here in the physical world,
Mm.
because there's no way that I could just feel so comfortable with what I do.
Right.
Like
Mm.
here, for a majority of my life, I grew up feeling like there was something missing deep within my soul. I didn't know what it was. Here I was, married. My ex-husband at the time had just survived a brain tumor.
Oh.
I had 2 children, my parents, my grandparents, very blessed and very fortunate. But I still felt that there was something missing deep within my soul. And until I accepted and embraced fully my gift is when I felt complete. And I share that story with a lot of people because I feel like there are so many things, whether it be with someone's occupation, or how they want to be in a relationship, whatever it is, God made us a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to find that and to nurture that and to believe in that and to love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of touched on this in roundabout ways, but like, where do you think we go once this physical life is over? And when we're
Mm.
coming back as spirits, are we energy?
Mhm.
Do you believe in a heaven, an alternate plane?
So I always say to people, I'll find out when I get there. Yeah, I do. But I try to describe it like it's just how, like we have things right now, things going on around us. There's energy around us. I use the comparison of dry ice. Like imagine our physical bodies as dry ice. And as it starts to evaporate, right, and dissipate, that's like kind of like what the soul is like. And it just kind of like dissipates into the air. It's still there. We can't see it, right? But we feel it. It's there. We don't know what it is, and I always say to people that, and I don't like to use the word like skeptic, or I like to say who don't understand what I do. Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about who I am and what I do and how I choose to use my gift. That spirit, there are a lot of common things that spirit might have me say to someone, bring up and talk about. But with every message like that, I need spirit to validate it with something completely unique to that person, things that they wouldn't expect to bring up, or more importantly, could find out, or there'd be no way I could find that out. That's why I like them to channel with their personality. And I love also the fact that when we talk about things and people are like, well, I don't know about that. And then they start talking about their own spiritual experience. But that's the point of what I do. I want you to believe in that. I want you to believe in that experience, believe in the afterlife. Because what I've also learned is that through losing a loved one, we sometimes lose our faith. We sometimes lose our hope.
Yeah.
We lose everything. And we don't know how to get that back. And sometimes it is, coming and having an experience or just witnessing it or watching it happen for someone else.
That's so true in terms of like the faith. And I think it's interesting because there's like an element of control I think so many people want to have. And this is like completely out of your control, like these types of connections and what you're able to do. So,
because look, if I can control it, I'd have them give me the lotto numbers for God's sakes. Come on.
Right.
I just wanted to show you this picture. I don't know if this is the picture you saw, but it's the one that I, when you said white shirt. And like
you're wearing a white shirt. Yeah. And how old are you in that picture? Were you like 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's your dad?
That's incredible. Yeah. That's incredible.
I mean, I don't mean to, but on a side note, do you realize that we have the same chrome on our nails?
I was looking at that.
Yes. I've been looking at these nails and these rings this whole time. I love it.
Well, I want to ask a fun question. Maybe it's fun, maybe it's not fun, but I know you are a divorcee.
Yeah.
If you are dating, how is it dating as a medium?
Oh my gosh.
Well, yes, I am dating. I am always completely honest and transparent about with everything that goes on in my life. And I started that through my show, Long Island Medium. What people also don't realize, it really isn't tough because he knows who I am. And he knew what he was getting himself into in other terms. But what I also learned is that, over 10 years ago, I decided, and my ex-husband, we decided to put our lives and live our lives in the public eye. And what I learned after my divorce is that a lot of people don't want to. And I had to learn to respect that because I'm just so open. So, but it is very different. It's new. And I never thought at 54 I'd be dating, but it's all good. And I'm just,
you look very
I'm
happy.
I know the smile, the ear to ear.
Smile, glowing. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, what about, because we all watch American Horror Story. What about bad spirits and bad souls? Is there such thing? And if you feel like there is, like, how do you get rid of them?
Okay. So first of all, with my gift, I only channel souls that walk in God's white light. And the things that I talk to you about are things that I experienced through spirit. And I'm going to use this example so you understand that, yes, I mean, spirits never said to me, Theresa, it's hot down here. So I don't know if there is a hell, but I can tell you that there are levels, if you want to refer to them as dimensions. So when I channel with the souls, it's somehow, I don't know how I do it. I don't know. I wish I could tell you something cool. It just happens. It's almost like I raise my vibration. So I can only lower my vibration so low. And how I know this, and to validate this, was I was doing an arena reading. I think it was in front of 5,000 people. And this woman, unfortunately, lost her daughter to a murder-suicide. And I was channeling the daughter, and the daughter said, please tell and I can see someone below her. I could see like a shadow, but I couldn't feel anything from them. I couldn't hear anything from that soul directly. She said, please let my mom know that he is sorry and remorseful and knows what he took from her. And this is the moment where I was like, I can't say that. And then
Right.
I was like, well, that's not my job, right? To filter it. And I said it to the woman, and the woman looked at me and she said, I wanted to know if he knew and was remorseful for killing my daughter. And that's why I came here. And I was like, what? I would never even think that that would be what maybe a
Like,
mom
she
would
wanted
look
to
for,
hear.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what she
Mhm.
would want to hear. And in that moment, I was like, it was like a full circle for me of, okay, yes, I only channel souls that walk in God's white light. I could see the soul, but I couldn't feel anything from him. I couldn't hear anything from him, but through the daughter, I could. And that was a
Mhm.
gift that her mother needed. And that's the other thing I don't think people realize. When, first of all, I want to also say this, going to a medium is not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not. And this is what I do for a living. And I understand that, and more importantly, respect that. But if someone is out there thinking of going, to a medium, the best thing I can tell you is don't go with any expectations.
Mm.
Because I think by going with an open heart and just, whatever happens, those are the people that have the best experience. And I think that woman, and the reason why I'm saying that, because I think that mom came to my show that night, not realizing or thinking that she ever really would have heard those words.
Mm. Yeah. And I guess maybe have you had instances where people have come hoping to hear from one relative or loved one and someone completely different comes to them? Yeah. And they
Absolutely.
receive the message that they need to receive.
And they never thought of it, that they would
Mhm.
ever have heard that message.
What about, because I'm feeling this way right now, I'm not going to lie. You get a little message and you're like, well, I want more. I want more
Mhm.
stuff.
Sure. Oh,
Like, how do you handle
absolutely.
that? Or like, is it just the longer you sit with someone, it'll just, I don't know.
I think I think it's a couple of different things. It's also very different when I have a session with someone, and we have an hour. It's also different if we're in a large venue. I try to move the energy as fast as I can
Mm.
to allow people to have the experience so that we can get different messages throughout the
Mhm.
evening. Because there's only so many souls you can channel in a certain amount of time. And I think that's always something that I think that's our nature, right? We always want more, no matter what it is,
Mhm.
right? We
Mhm.
always want more. So, but what I want, and by leaving someone with more, is to realize that they then might pay attention a little bit more to their own intuition or their
Mhm.
own gut instinct, and
Right.
realizing that when they talk to their loved ones and they get that little feeling, maybe now when you talk to your dad and you feel that warmth, you're like, oh, he's here. I know it. He's, because have you ever felt that way before? Like
Yeah, I
that
mean,
warmth?
not the warmth that I've recognized. Maybe I felt it and just didn't
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I definitely believe like they're all around you. That's another question I have. Are they always around you? Like, can he see everything I'm doing?
Yeah, girl, that is a good question.
Usually men ask those types of questions. But I've never, had that experience. I do get my best information in the shower, but spirits never said to me, Theresa, it looks like you put on a couple of pounds. So I don't but they never have made reference to that. They're there to give us the messages of hope and faith and peace,
Mhm.
not for anything else. And look, there might be other mediums that work that way. I don't work that way. Like I don't work with the police. Like I say this all the time.
Oh my
How
God, I was
I
gonna
do-
ask that. Like,
Yeah,
can
like
you fight crime?
yeah,
This would be a
listen,
great crime fighting skill.
there it can be, but there are also times, I can tell you, where spirit will come through and say, I was murdered. There's no one being held accountable for my murder, and I need my family to stop searching.
Mm.
Because and that they'll show me, like they will literally show me, like they'll get like dead ends, and they say there's a reason for that, and then they'll show me like a can of worms, because then it means that you're going to open up a much bigger can.
Wow.
Mm.
Let the justice be that my soul is at peace with God.
Mhm.
You think that's easy for me to say to somebody?
Mm.
Absolutely not. So,
My gosh.
and there are times that they'll just say there were 3 people involved. You know exactly what happened, but unfortunately, it's not. They're not going to be held accountable.
That's
So
tough.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
very tough.
very tough.
It's very, very tough.
Just rewinding a bit, because I don't know if we got an answer for if there is a bad spirit,
Oh.
how do you get rid of it?
Oh,
Like
like
in
if
your
someone
home or
has it like in
something.
their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel like bad
Like, should
energy
we
or
put some
like
salt down around
so
the
you could
doorways?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Himalaya salt along the doorway
Mm.
and also around the perimeter of your home will also, they say, will keep the bad energies out. The one thing that I tell people is you have control.
Mm.
So you can literally go into a room and be like, get the bleep out of my room. This is my space. Like you have to like recommand your space. You
Mhm.
can use white sage, which is something that I use and I've used for many years. I am not Native American, but my soul is. I am so connected to Native American, and I use the white sage, which cleanse my space. You can tell the souls to go to the light. What you're doing is you're acknowledging that they're there. I don't know what you mean by bad entities.
People
If
that
there's a
just make
real,
you feel uneasy.
oh,
or
okay,
Energy
yeah,
that's makes you feel
Yeah,
uneasy.
I can give you an example. So in my old apartment, this man literally came into my apartment and like choked me. And I
Mm.
was like, oh my God. It was just like, it was too
Like
much.
a spirit, you're saying?
Yeah. No, not like a real person.
that's a
No.
was like-
psychic. You had a psychic attack. That's what they call that, a psychic attack.
What does that mean?
Like you had a soul. Was it a soul?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't a real person.
Right. Right. So they'll refer to that. I've never had that experience. I tend to stay away from things like that. That's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But I tell people that you can just use the white sage. You have the control of saying, this is not your space. Go to the light.
Mhm.
Be gone. You are not of me. You're acknowledging the energy, but you're not allowing it into your space, and use
my
white
God.
sage.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I now feel like I'm hearing sounds. I'm like freaking out.
No, but like your point, I literally was like, because I talked to my mom, my family's very, very spiritual. So like we did a little something, something.
Mhm.
And then I was
Yeah.
just like, please just leave. Like, I don't,
Yes.
I'm okay. And like, it was
Mhm.
it was the craziest thing, but then it was like gone, but it was
Gone.
like out of body experience where I was
Mhm.
just like, oh my God. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, this person, something's very wrong with them. I don't know what the issue is. They're like trying to come to me or something. I was just like, I am not your medium. I am not the person to come to for this.
Yeah. And you have to also understand, like, I know someone that had a house and they sensed that there was a young man that died in that house.
Mhm.
And I never felt uncomfortable with the energy, but I'm comfortable with spirit.
Mhm.
The people's children were very uncomfortable. They wouldn't go upstairs by themselves. They wouldn't do certain things. They
Wow.
ended up moving because of it. So I think also sometimes I haven't had direct contact with souls that are negative like that.
Mhm.
But I do know of people, but I was in the house and I was like, oh, I love this energy, but I also, talk to dead people. So to me, I didn't feel that he was haunting or like a psychic attack type of thing was going to harm anyone in the house. I could just feel the energy because they felt it and it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the difference for them,
Right.
So.
And another question I have, what about like reincarnation? They have these
Mhm.
moments where they'll say like kids have really old souls or it feels
Yep.
like they've been here before. What do you think
Yep.
about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I refer to them as past lives. You want to
Mhm.
call it reincarnation. So there was a woman that I had read that it was her mom and her. It was her mom and her, and the girl unfortunately lost her sister. And I said, I feel like that you lost your sister and you used to see her all the time, but I can't see her. I can't find her. I'm like, I don't see her, but I know you lost your sister and you lost your daughter. And I go, you have a daughter? You see your sister in your daughter? And she said, I used to see my sister all the time. And then when I had my daughter is when I stopped seeing my sister.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
That was the only time I saw a soul that like re-entered that quickly into the physical world.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you, because I know you said you're Catholic, and as I mentioned, I'm also Catholic, but I also have aunts that are like follow the religion of like Santeria, and like we have Sade here, who her family is Yoruba, and they have like, you know, you also mentioned like Native Americans and like all these like native traditions that are very comfortable with spirits and souls, and all of that kinds of stuff. Have you ever done any like research into any of those practices, or did this just come to you? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, so first of all, that's the one thing about me. I do not need to know details. I don't even know great details about my own faith.
Wow.
I have Buddhas in my house with rosary beads around them. So I embrace all religions because I think at the end of the day, we all believe in a higher power.
Right.
To me, whether you believe, I'm also a little, I view religion as also people. We're all the same. It doesn't matter what we believe or who we praise. It's all the same. We believe in something, right? So that's how I feel about that. And I kind of think that religions are kind of all the same in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Well, even when you were like talking about like God and all these things, like in my mind, I was like, I know we might not be thinking of like the same exact God, but like I feel like our gods are like in, you know, like it's a higher power. And it's like an energy situation. And
I say that to people. I was raised very differently. I don't talk about religion. That's someone's personal being. I share things with you in my frame of reference. And it doesn't, whether you call him Yahweh, Buddha, God, it's a higher power.
Right.
So
I have another question around like the kind of spirit and their connection with like I'm trying to use the right terminology with like the living or like this realm. My godmother died on my godfather's birthday. And he had already passed. And it was like literally a year after, and like my whole family was all like, yeah, like he called her back, and like it was like this whole thing. And I was like, what? Like at the time I was a kid and I was like, what are we talking about? But like I wonder, like, is that like a thing?
Yeah, you know, for some souls it is, for some instances it is. But I felt she died of a broken heart.
Yeah.
So and souls do come for another, but only if it's their time to leave the physical world. I think that's the other thing that people don't realize also. Even with, you know, people that take their own life, they'll say to me, I try to take my life many times before and I didn't succeed. I lived my life in a wheelchair for 15 years because I tried to kill myself, and it wasn't my soul's time to leave the physical world. So I think there's a lot of, I think things like that, passing on a birthday, an anniversary, I think those are all huge validations and signs from the divine, from our higher power, of that we are all together, that there is a soul circle, and that there is more to life, that there is an afterlife. Whatever that is, I refer to it as heaven. Someone else might refer to it as a dimension, whatever it may be, but it's something. There's something.
You don't just go away.
Yeah, because this is the other thing. I mean, still, even after doing this over 20 years, spirit still freaks me out. They will describe moments that they'll like lay me in a bed and they're like, yeah, I saw my sister and I saw my mother and I saw my cousin that died. And I'll say this to someone and they're like, that's exactly what happened. She was saying that they were there, that they were in the room, and we were telling her that she was crazy. How would I know that?
Right. Yeah.
Insane.
Wow.
It's
Do you
amazing.
think it's all like necessarily spirit connection, or there could be other things? Because like my sister has like the craziest like gift, and like for us religiously, we're just like, yeah, you just have like a gift. Like there isn't like a term for it, but like she had a friend who like kept miscarrying, and she was like, I can like see this baby. Or like this one girl went missing and she was like, I'm seeing her at a friend's house, like she's okay. And I was like,
wow.
like,
Yeah.
excuse my French, but I was like,
Yeah.
how are you doing this? And like the more and more, to your point, that she like leans in and she called her friend and she was like, I know this isn't going to make any sense, but like I'm seeing she's at a friend's house, there's an adult there, but like it's a more lax parent, like all these details. And the family was able to be like, oh, we know where she is.
And they found her?
They found her.
Whoa.
It's just like very, but like I don't think that she's like, and I don't think she thinks that she's necessarily connecting with like spirits. It's just like something that just comes
like
to her.
intuition.
Right. But something is giving her that intuition. So there's something that feeds our little Jiminy Cricket.
Right.
But whatever it is it, was it another soul? Is it her spirit guide? Was it a higher power? Whatever it is, she has, I don't see things like that. And that's what I think I want also people to realize, is that we all have our own connections, some more so than others. That's where the old soul comes in. So like you talked about past lives, like I did past life regressions and I visited many of my past lives. And I was told in one of my that this was my soul's last journey here in the physical world.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. I mean, there were times I went through things of where we talk about the soul circle, where I was a young man and there was a fire and I was searching for my brother. And when I found my brother, the person guiding the regression said, look into your brother's eyes and who do you see? And I saw my nephew, my brother's son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was like, I was his older brother in a previous life.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like crazy. And he, at the time, he was 3. My nephew was like 3 years old. It wasn't like, he was older. He had just been born.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I have like crazy dreams. Like I have a cousin who unfortunately was like,
that the tragedy?
murdered.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
was tasting blood before. So that's
it
my
was
tragedy.
very tragic. She was actually stabbed by another cousin. But anyways, and I had a dream about her. And I woke up and I told my mom, I was like, I dreamt of Sharon. Like we were at a barbecue. She was happy. And my mom was like, today's her birthday. So I'm like, so I called her daughters who were very sad. And I was like, I had a dream about your mom. She said she was really happy. And that meant the world for them. They were like, wow. Like,
wow.
needed to hear that because like the way she died was so terrible.
Right.
But I guess I'm wondering, and I think I alluded to it before. If you're having these moments kind of frequently, do you have any advice on how to lean into it and like learn more about it and hone in and like figure it out, like the way how you kind of understand what you're doing, if that makes sense?
So how I understood is I just used my ability. I paid attention to it. I embraced it. I channeled it. So for a lot of people, I say to them, if you want to learn how to connect a little bit more, be a little bit more open, first of all, anything that goes on around you that you think is odd or weird and it reminds you of your loved ones, know that it is them. Also, meditation, quieting the mind. That's when we connect with the souls of the departed easier because our minds aren't busy with burdens and busyness of a day. So kind of like quiet your mind and listen to that gut instinct. Sometimes you can ask spirit questions. You can say, why was I seeing that? And then all of a sudden you might just feel like smiling. And then it'd be, they want you to know that they're at peace, that they're okay, and that they're happy.
Yeah. I had
everyone is different on how they get things. Like that's the other thing. There's no right or wrong way to connect or to channel.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had like this inkling in what you're saying is like it's almost like these things are all around us, but if you're not like thinking about it in that sense, that's why you said like the kids and animals can like feel it so much more. Like I had kind of like spiritual reading before I moved, and the lady was like, yeah, your grandma's with you like everywhere you go. I kid you not, her favorite flower was growing outside of my
Oh
apartment.
my
Her
God.
And it
new
was
apartment.
amazing.
my new apartment, and it was one of those things where
Wow.
like if I
Right.
didn't think about her telling me that, I would have just been like, oh cool, like this
Right.
flower is here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, I'm safe in this apartment. You know, it's like one of those things
Yes.
where you just have to
But-
like,
But what a beautiful feeling that left you with.
oh my God, 100%.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. I was like, I just moved across the country by myself. And then I was like,
Oh, wow.
I'm good. My
You're not
grandma's
alone.
here. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's the other thing I tell people, you can't spend your whole day saying to your loved ones, I want signs. I want to see this, or spend your day searching for it. Take it as when it comes and embrace it, and just don't make a big deal about it. Love it, nurture it, honor it, own it. That's it.
Yeah.
Those
I think
special
something
moments.
else that I always try to remember is like just keeping those loved ones alive just in
Yeah.
your speaking. Like we'll just say like,
Yes.
oh my God, like my grandmother would have loved this. Or like we
Mhm.
always like say things that she would say,
Yeah.
or like just
Mhm.
recognize when she's around. And
Yes. They
I
love
don't
that
know,
the
I think that's so
most.
important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is so important because that's who we are. Those are our values, our traditions. That's what family is about. And that's what keeps that memory alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One, I'm looking at the time and I want to be respectful. I have
Oh,
one
yes,
last
yes,
question
yes.
for you.
Sure.
For someone who wants to seek out a medium, I looked and I know you are booked and busy because you are like the medium. How, or do you have any advice for looking for like a legitimate
Mhm.
medium?
I think you would have to go by recommendation. If you know someone that has gone to someone before, do not accept someone that's reaching out to you online. I mean, there are people that pretend to be me, so know that mediums aren't reaching out to you. If you're looking for someone, go by a recommendation, ask someone. Through my podcast, I have a hotline that people can call and leave a message. And I love doing that because there are people like I never thought in a million years that I would meet you or get a reading by you. And, it's all over the world, all
Yeah.
over the country. If you don't mind, I can share that number with your
Please,
listeners.
Yes, please.
It's 1-866-T Caputo.
Love it.
There you go.
So, leave a message. You never know. Someone might just call you back and you could be
Oh
the
my
next guest
gosh.
on Hey Spirit. But I am, like I said, now I'm on tour now. I'll be touring for the next 8 weeks. I'm only a week into my tour. I'm in a different city every day. So maybe if you want to check out my website at theresacaputo.com,
Yes.
maybe I'm in a city near you. And I say to people, don't be discouraged if I'm in a large space. It is such an intimate moment that I've been able to create where we have cameras that follow me around. I'm not on the stage. I'm down in the audience. And if you ladies, if I'm in a city near you and you want to come to a show, please reach out. I would love
We
to
would
have
love
you as a
to.
guest because it is something to see in person and to watch and to feel the energy in the room is just absolutely incredible. People say it all the time. They'll say, I had no idea what to expect when I went to see her live show. I personally didn't get read, but what I witnessed was absolutely life-changing. So,
Wow.
Of that. Well,
yeah.
I don't know about reading spirits, but I read your vibes and your energy, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. So
Oh,
thank you so much for joining us.
thank you, ladies. I appreciate your time and for sharing me with your listeners.
Thank you
Likewise.
so
for
much.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you.